the famed Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's round 13 of the AMA Thor Parts Unlimited Supercross Series. Hello, everyone. Art Eckman, along with Davey Coombs, former all-time Supercross winner Rick Johnson, and Marty Reed, bringing you a down-to-the-wire two-way battle for the 1997 Supercross Championship. It's been the most competitive season since the years Rick Johnson tossed a leg over a bike.
Well, Art, you said that right. You know, this is the best thing that's ever happened to the sport. All these different winners, Yamaha, Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki back into the picture. Honda hasn't won a race this year. It's so many things are happening, and this sport is just thriving. The crowds are big, and the television audience is huge. Getting
right to our first qualifying heat, let me remind you that only the top 4 riders from each of the 2 qualifying heats get the early gate choices, plus the transfer directly to the main event. The rest of the field goes on to the semifinals, where the top 5 will make that only ride that pays money the main event. The semis, after that, only 2 gate positions remain. They'll be filled with the top 2 riders out of the last chance qualifiers. We get set for our first qualifying heat, which includes Jeremy McGrath and Ezra Lusk, 2 riders who have been very, very fast and very effective in the last few races. Ryan Hughes, coming back after the injury, is also in this race, but the one guy we offer our best in his return, his first race after coming off the injured list, is Michael Craig, number 15. Also Mike LaRocco in this particular one.
You got some complete guns out there. You got guys that want to be impressive their first round out. You got Ezra Lusk, who's just been on a roll, and you got Jeremy McGrath, who's out there fighting for that championship. So it's going to be interesting how this plays out.
Also, Davey, this might be an interesting race for Mike Kodrowski, who likes tracks like Daytona. As we're just about set to go, we're off, and our first qualifying heat is underway. Jeremy McGrath getting the whole shot right in the middle, but look who takes over. Ryan Hughes out in front.
Yeah, Art, I think we're going to see that all night. That's a tight first turn. Like Rick pointed out earlier, when we were watching the track, the riders get their front wheel lifted up, and there's going to be problems in that corner.
Ryan Hughes, who has started well coming off the injured list, but is not kept up with any endurance factor after coming back.
Well, you know, last year is where Ryan broke his jaw here, and that was a pretty traumatic injury for him. But Ryan's the type of, this track suits him because he likes fast tracks. He likes to go quick. So this is one track that he'll do well on.
Ryan is out in front with Michael Jones second. Then is Mike LaRocco third, Ezra Lusk fourth, Craig fifth, Kodrowski sixth, and Jeremy McGrath is in seventh.
That first turn really cost Jeremy. He had the whole shot there. He got bumped out by 92. I think that was Pokarova, and he's got his work cut out for him to get in the top 4.
Yeah, Pokarova took a hard shot on Jeremy. Jeremy had the whole shot clean. He just drove right up Jeremy's left leg and pushed him out.
Jones losing control right there. With a big lead, Ryan Hughes. He's already 4.5 seconds in front of Mike LaRocco.
Yeah, but if you watch Jeremy McGrath, you know, this guy is an artist. He's just picking them off one by one, but he's right in the thick of things right now.
What a great heat. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Boy, Ryan Hughes, what a comeback after last year when he broke his jaw here, rode the final despite the pain. Had a terrible time here. He came in this week saying, this track owes me one, and he has been right up there, quickest in every section, along with Ezra Lusk, Jeremy McGrath, and Jeff Emig. And right now, he's got it down, fellas.
Wasn't that something, Rick, that after he crossed the finish line of the qualifying heat, his jaw hit those bars so hard and just cracked that jaw?
Yeah, I think he just relaxed for a minute, and he didn't realize how quick he was going, and he was in a position that he didn't know what to do. You know, here we're watching Jeremy McGrath use the whole track, and that's what's impressive about Jeremy. He gets the most out of everything. He's going to the right, to the left, and he keeps up with the speed no matter what part of the track he's on.
Right now, his target is Ezra Lusk.
Yeah, just a moment ago, I said Jeremy might have his work cut out for him, but gentlemen, I think he came to work hard tonight. He's already in fourth.
Hughes still has the big lead on LaRocco, Lusk, McGrath, and Craig. Only the top 4 as we take a look at our field summary. Get the transfer to the main event here tonight.
Well, we got another rider out there who really wants to prove something, and that's Mike LaRocco. You know, there's some controversy between him and Suzuki, and so he really wants to be impressive, but Ezra Lusk is on a roll, and he's moving.
Ezra Lusk has really done just such a phenomenal job, making the last 4 podiums, 2 wins out of the last 3 races.
You know, it's funny, if a rider wins one time, one Supercross race, he knows in his mind forever that he can do it. It took Ezra 4 years to get here. Now look what he's doing. 2 wins in the last 3 races, and very good position win tonight.
Here comes Jeremy McGrath, tries the inside to LaRocco. LaRocco shuts him off. A second, third, and fourth. Freight train right now. If they stay upright, all of these 4 riders, including Hughes, would make it to the main event. But you never know what Mike Craig might do.
Yeah, and you know what? Watching Jeremy come up behind Mike LaRocco, all that tension going in the Suzuki pits. I know it's not personal between Mike and Jeremy, but you never know what's going to spill onto the track. I think Jeremy just got by clean there.
Yeah, Jeremy just jumped by him. He had a different rhythm through there, and Jeremy is the king of staying low off a triple, so he can make up time where a lot of guys are just trying to clear an obstacle. He's figuring ways to get back on the ground and keep moving forward.
Jeremy starting out in 7th, now in 3rd. And he's such an artist at staying low on the jumps. And this is the kind of track you love to get the power down to the ground fast, Rick.
Yeah, here he comes up with Ezra Lust through the whoop-de-doos. And Ezra, like you said earlier, Davey, that Ezra took him a while to win that first Supercross, but it changes the rider's career. Look at John Dowd. Really wasn't a factor in Nationals. Went out at Sacramento in the rain, won his first National. Now he's a factory rider, and he's one of the guns on the series.
Yeah, there's a good example of what you said earlier about Jeremy low flying over the triples. You see how much time he made up on Ezra that time.
Yeah, through the jump sections, Jeremy, right now, he's the man of the hour.
Our first qualifiers from Charlotte. We'll see the checkers fly when we return. AMA Supercross on ESPN2 is being brought to you by Honda. With a whole line of new motorcycles, your Honda dealer is the most exciting place to be this spring. Honda, come ride with us. And by Suzuki. Your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Welcome back to our first qualifying heat. While we were away, our cameras focused on our leader, Ryan Hughes.
What happened is you see Ryan had a whole head of speed going down there.
Ooh.
He lost a little bit of momentum, got off on the rhythms, then he basically bailed out.
And in the meantime, Jeremy McGrath has taken over first place with Ezra Lusk in 2nd. Mike LaRocco has moved up to 3rd with Michael Craig in 4th.
Yeah, I'm watching Jeremy use all kinds of unorthodox lines, but a lot of the crowd was watching the crash by Ryan Hughes, and Jeremy very methodically picked off Ezra through that same whoop section. He has got his best stuff out tonight, guys.
Definitely he does, and that's the thing, that when you're going for a championship, you have to pull all the tricks out of the bag.
Back with us this week, number 5, Mike LaRocco, after leaving Team Suzuki because of strained relations. That's putting it mildly. The parties got back together this last week, explained their stand, and Mike goes out there to try to put it all behind him, at least through the Supercross season.
Really, for my career, I thought, you know, if things haven't changed and I've been struggling, that maybe if I could, you know, try something else and get this worked out and start getting my results back and, you know, get back on top. But, you know, discussions went on, and at first it was kind of a mutual decision, and it got deeper than that. So, you know, I decided not to press the issue, that I'll stick to my commitment and just do the best I can. When you're born and you have a racing nature, it's really all you can. I mean, it's easy to think about that. Just go out and race, and when you're on the track, you race, and that's what I plan to do, trying to put this all behind me and just go on from here.
It's good to see him back on the track. That's where he belongs, and it's also heartwarming to hear that Mike's wife Elizabeth is doing well with a difficult pregnancy situation. But he's back on the track, looking good right now in a possible qualifying situation.
Ezra Lusk still keeping up the pressure, and I like to see that people aren't just falling as victims to Jeremy like they did last year. Anytime someone would pass, Jeremy would pass him last year, they just basically gave up. Now if you're looking at Ezra, he's still pushing hard and keeping Jeremy honest.
You know, at that time, Jeremy was like the Michael Jordan out there in the motocross court. No matter what, people would get near him and they'd freeze up. And we saw that. And right there we see a rider down in front of Jeremy, but our field summary shows us McGrath still out front, followed by Yogi, and then LaRocco and Mike Craig.
What a great break from Mike Craig, just coming back after missing at least 3 races.
Yeah, I think, you know, once you come back after you sat out for a while, especially in the middle of a really competitive series like this, you're coming back, you're kind of feeling what's going on. Here, I really think this is the best thing for Ezra Lusk, because now he's had a chance to watch Jeremy and see what Jeremy does and find out where he made the time on him. So this might benefit him for the main event.
Patience has been the big lesson for this kid, don't you think, Davey?
Yeah, you know what? Whenever Ezra was a 125 rider, he was out there riding by himself. He didn't know how to learn those lessons Rick's talking about, how to watch for lines and things like that. But he's got his act together. He knows he can do it, and he had to take a few lessons in humility. But you see, it's all paying off. I think he's going to be a real title contender next year.
Okay, as we see Jeremy McGrath in front of Ezra Lusk here in our first qualifying heat. Off Mount Charlotte we come into the horseshoe, and after the horseshoe, it's the jump at the finish line, and that will be the white flag lap. Number 15, Michael Craig. You got to pat him on the back right now.
Yeah, he's coming back from an injury, and he's probably just feeling things out, but he is running a strong race. Here we got the white flag.
White flag, Jeremy McGrath, Ezra Lusk now over the finish line with Mike LaRocco in third, Craig in fourth. Kodrowski still trying to catch up. He's on the bubble.
You know, it'd be really neat is if those guys at Honda of Troy could get a main event win this year in the 250 class. They've had Larry Ward and Mike Craig and Mike Kodrowski just riding hard and riding aggressively all year long, but they just never put it together to get a win. I think that'd be really cool to have a support team do something like that.
On our final lap, Ezra kind of closing up the gap a bit, Rick.
Yeah, once you've won 2 main events like Ezra does now, you have to have that confidence that you're the best guy on the track. So whenever I was out in front and I had somebody catching me from behind, I figured they knew something on the track that I didn't, because obviously they can't be better than me.
Let's see what happens on this jump section now. The monster triple as Ezra Lusk tries to catch up with Jeremy McGrath on our final lap of our first qualifying round. A lapper in the way on the side now as Jeremy comes streaming through the rhythm section. Up the mountain.
Well, if you look right there, Jeremy has these little blasts of speed where he makes up 2 and 3 bike links. Ezra pulls it in, and in one jump, Jeremy can pull it out.
Ezra only going for a double there, or I should say a single, when Jeremy McGrath went for the double, conceding second place. The checkers are flying for Jeremy McGrath. Marty Reed will be talking with Jeremy. Rick Johnson and Davey Coombs will take a closer look at this Charlotte track when we get back. So these 4 riders winning a quick trip to the main event here tonight in our opening qualifying round here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Jeremy McGrath, used to the podium, is back there with Marty Reed.
Yeah, we're down here. I hardly broke a sweat. It's awful chilly tonight, but not a great start, but wow, what a way to cut through the field.
Yeah, I had the whole shot, actually. I went out there in the first turn. I was in front, braked for the corner, and someone ran me in the back. I don't know what happened, knocked me into neutral, and then like 6 guys went by, so had to work my way up.
So what'd you learn during this heat race? Because, I mean, you really were cutting some different lines.
Yeah, I have a few different lines out there than everyone else, which is good. Bike's working good. Track's good. I mean, the rain holds out, we'll be good.
Not to bring up a sore subject, but Ezra Lusk did not give up again. He stayed right behind you, even though you got by him.
Ezra's riding really good right now. He's got a lot of momentum. He's won the last 2 out of the 3 races, and, I mean, it's kind of good. I mean, if I can get out in front and beat him, maybe he's faster than Jeff tonight, and, it'll help the points for me.
Well, guys, he's 2 points behind Jeff Emig. He's thrown the gauntlet down. Emig's in the next heat.
That's right, number 3, Jeff Emig. Both title contenders, Emig and McGrath, are experienced veterans. They've been through these title races before. Well, what about the guys who do their wrenching, the mechanics? Jeremy Albrecht and Wyatt Seals.
Excitement-wise, I don't know how to explain it. I've never been in a situation like this. We're, at least in the 250, chase. I mean, I was there with Rhino in the 125s. We got really close, but I don't know. This one, I seem a little more nervous for sure, and it just started these last couple of races. So, we're kind of getting down to the home stretch on this deal, and it's tightening up. So everything's got to be perfect. Can't make any mistakes. My part, Jeremy's part, anybody's part.
I think that's definitely going to be a key for us, as we've already done this. We already, won a championship last year together. Whereas for them, it's a whole new thing. And, I mean, I'm sure Wyatt is capable of doing it anyway, which everyone is, but everyone does take pressure different, and working with somebody is definitely, I mean, every person you work with different anyway.
These guys put in the hours of preparation. The glory might be focused on the riders, but the mechanics out there are just as emotionally involved, right, Rick?
Oh, definitely. When you lose, your mechanic just takes it to heart, especially if you ever have a mechanical problem. They really feel like you let them down, or they let you down, but it's a complete team out there.
Right now, we're taking a look at Damon Bradshaw, and of course, well known in this area, growing up here, now lives in Boise, Idaho. As we wait for this second heat to get underway, let's go down to Marty Reed.
Guys, taking a look at Jeff Emig, you'll notice that he's changed the colors. He's in a mostly black outfit tonight. The reason is, if you remember last week, he wore orange and had that dismal performance. He said, "You'll never see orange on a racetrack again with me."
While we have this little break, a great friend of ours, a great friend of motorcycle racing for that matter, Humpy Wheeler, the general manager of this fantastic facility. And as we look out into the darkness here, Humpy, I would be remiss not mentioning your tremendous expansion plans here at Charlotte Motorsports Speedway.
Yeah, we're adding 26,000 seats over on the second turn, and that's going to be the most modern grandstand I think that you'll see in the world as far as auto racing is concerned. I wish we could move it over here and put it right down there where the guys are starting.
Can't you put wheels on it and just slide it over?
Well, you know, I thought about running a rail line down through there, you know, sort of monorail them over here. But this is a great night. We've got a great crowd tonight, and what a show. This is just super.
Humpy, I know that the auto racing is so big in this area, but also it appears like the growing sport of Supercross is really doing you a good job. You have any future plans as far as motorcycle racing is concerned?
Oh, yeah. You know, we've off and on the last 20 years, we've done a lot of motorcycle racing. I just love this Supercross, though, because the people, just great. And we want to try to figure out how to stick about 100,000 people in here for Supercross. And I think we can do it one day.
I think Pace Motorsports just jumped out of the booth.
Well, I think, you know, I'm here every day, not every day, Humpy, but I do work at the Richard Petty Driving Experience, so I've watched the grandstands go up. It's amazing how quick they go, and just being all over the world, this is, I think, probably the best facility. I mean, the whole city's behind racing, and you don't find a better environment for everything, for motorcycles, cars, the whole deal.
Yeah, and but I love this Supercross, and they're getting ready to crank them up again.
Okay, Humpy, thanks for dropping by.
Right,
appreciate it.
Okay.
Everything, all the fine amenities that you've brought us to be able to bring Supercross to the fans across the nation on ESPN2. Thank you so much.
Next year, 100,000.
Next year, 100,000. That's would that be something, Rick?
Old Bruton would love that.
I'll tell you, if anybody can do it, they can do it here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh, definitely. Build it and they will come. I mean, you saw what Bruton and Humpy can do when it came down to
Did you see this?
We got $100 million bill here.
Here we go
Humpy's
for our second qualifying heat. Jeff Hemming, Larry Ward, Albertine, Bradshaw, Button, and guess who? Number 3 gets a good break out of the crack right now. But look at Kevin Windham in second place. Kevin Windham showing very strong with a second place finish in last week's main event.
Yeah, you know what? Jeff Emmett got out of the first turn a lot clearer than Jeremy McGrath did, but he still got Kevin Windham and Damon Bradshaw behind him, 2 Eastern guys that probably mean a lot to win here in Charlotte.
Yeah, see, now it's a different story. Jeff Emming's out in front, and he's got pressure from behind, so he's probably going to be a little bit tight. That might have been a blessing for Jeremy to have to come from behind because he was relaxed. He had no way to go but up. Now Emming has to deal with the pressure, and he can lose a position by getting passed by Kevin Windham.
Everybody in the grandstand in front of us standing up as their hometown hero, number 10, Damon Bradshaw, starting to put some pressure on Kevin Windham in third place.
It's actually been a tough week for Damon. Believe it or not, his mechanic, Mike Andrews, suffered a broken hip when they were out testing. Damon's got a fire drill down there in the Axo Manchester pits, but see if he can pull it through and get on the podium.
Windham was second here last year as well in his 250 experiences, so he likes this kind of track. There's no question. Is Kevin Windham making the move on Emming? Emming in a title fight, but Windham doesn't care. The 125 rider who wants to clamp on the 125 Western Crown next week in Dallas has taken over the lead in our second qualifying heat. Emming moving down to second, but look at Bradshaw.
Yeah, see, Jeff Emming's being a little bit conservative, which surprises me, but this might be that blessing where he can get behind Windham and watch some different lines.
2 guys out there with nothing to lose. Damon Bradshaw and Kevin Windham. Emming's got everything to lose, and Rick, you're exactly right. He's riding tense.
Right, yeah, but I think his best bet is to maybe let them guys go for the time being, watch their lines, see if there's something that he can learn. But Jeff Emming's a big game player. I'd never, I don't know how much the pressure really bothers him.
Out in front, we've got the number 7 of Kevin Windham, just looking as smooth as ice. I'm telling you, he's just taken away with this thing.
Yeah, remember I was saying about how this track favors big guys that can muscle the bike around, and Kevin's a little bit bigger, got a little more leverage than those other guys out there, and this is exactly the way he looked at the Osaka Supercross when he dominated that race. So I think you're going to be seeing big things from Kevin Windham.
Only the top 4 will qualify for the main event. Windham, Emming, Bradshaw, and Larry Ward right now, with Greg Albertine trying to pull up on Ward, and he's got a good race going, actually. He's only a couple of bike lengths behind him.
Yeah, Larry Ward's tough on those whoops. We saw him pull a little ways away from Albertine, hold on that 4th place position. Larry Ward, tall guy, just like Windham. Again, as Rick was saying, favors a rider like that on this track.
Jimmy Button fans, he's down. He'll be going to the semifinal round.
Yeah, Jimmy Butt's not getting up real slow, not wanting to get back on the bike. But I think before this heat's over, you're going to see in the mix a race between Damon Bradshaw, Larry Ward, and Greg Albertine, because all three of them guys are moving right along. And now Jeff Emming sort of settled into second.
Button, a 125 Eastern round winner here in '94. But look at the freight train. And the interesting thing about this, only 4 of these 5 riders will be going to the main event out of our qualifying round. Albertine, number 8. Boy, did he have a crash here last year.
You know, last year was Greg Albertine's year to just have everything go wrong. This year he's gotten a little bit better. Actually, he's gotten a lot better. 3 podium finishes, and it's good to see Greg doing a lot better, but he's got to get rid of that crashing thing still.
Kevin Windham leads our second heat. Which 3 will accompany him to tonight's main event? The race to the checkers coming up next. Art Ekman, Davey Coombs, Rick Johnson, and Marty Reed from Charlotte Motor Speedway in the midst of our second qualifying heat. You're taking a look now at number 10, Damon Bradshaw. The beast from the east now lives in Boise, Idaho. But to his fans here in Charlotte, their native son, he'll always remain in their hearts. Damon Bradshaw saw some of his family and friends this week, and he had to drum up a few tickets as well.
It's always a last-minute deal, you know, scrounging to get as many tickets as I can for, you know, for everybody. But I did a lot of press stuff this week, you know, radio, lots of radio stuff, and you know, I've been to the stadium 3 or 4 of the days of the week, you know, doing different things. So, you know, I've been busy with it, and that's kind of how those guys repay me for doing what I do here.
Damon would like nothing else but to have a good showing here in Charlotte, and right now here in the preliminary heats, he's looking pretty good. But Larry Ward pulling up on number 10. Look out for the Honda Troy rider.
Okay, you know, you got Damon Bradshaw right now just taking over second place, passing Jeff Emming.
Look at that. Damon Bradshaw is got them all standing on their feet cheering now as he's moved into second place. Kevin Windham is long gone in first place.
Certain riders will take racing in their hometown as pressure, and some guys they thrive off it. And Damon is definitely one of them guys that thrives off the hometown power.
Oh, going down is Jeff Emming in the corner. Emming is down right before the horseshoe.
Taking a long time to get up. I don't know why he would take such a long time, knowing that if he gets back up and finishes in that 4th spot, he'll get in that qualifying position. Now he's going to have to go to a semi.
4 laps to go.
Well, you said there, Rick, about Jeff Emming. Maybe he rides better in pressure, maybe he doesn't. We're definitely going to see tonight because he's going to have to go to the semi.
Albie has moved into 4th. Let's go to Marty.
The thing I want to know is, and RJ, you're the one to talk about it best, what does this do to the mental side of Jeff Emming? Because we felt last week that Jeremy was starting to get back inside of Emming's head, and now with this heat race result and what Jeremy just did, wow, I think that the mind games could really be going strong.
How you start your day, Marty, when it comes to a championship, you have to set the right mindset. Jeremy went out, like I say, it's probably the best thing that happened to him is getting pushed out in the first turn. He had to fight his way back. But look what happens to Jeff Emming. He comes into the turn, washes out, hits the hay bale, gets thrown down pretty hard. So that might just knock a little wind out of the sails, and if there's anything lingering from before, that could come back to haunt him.
Coming around now is Kevin Windham, number 7, with the big lead. In fact, Damon Bradshaw now has started to pull up a little bit on that lead. About 6 seconds as we go toward the finish line jump. There will be only 2 laps remaining for Kevin Windham.
You know, there's no roof on the house here at Charlotte, but if Damon Bradshaw get up there and pass Kevin Windham, this place will go absolutely nuts. They still dearly love Damon here in North Carolina.
Oh, definitely. He's the hometown favorite. He's on the John Boy and Billy show, which is the #1 radio station here with all the stock car fans. So there would be nothing that would probably make his life than to come back here and win at Charlotte, because he did win at the stadium. It'd be the first time to win his hometown in 2 different racetracks.
Weeding through the lappers right now, you see number 6, Larry Ward, looking back. Who does he find there but Greg Albertine?
Greg Albertine, Davey was saying earlier, that had a terrible year last year, crashing, but really no big injuries. Albie came back and won a race this year. You know, he's a 3-time world champion, so you can't take nothing away from him. He's had a little bit of a hard time adapting. You know, he's changing his whole lifestyle coming over here, but I really admire him. He's a hard-charging, never-give-up type of rider, and that's what this sport needs.
In the battle for 3rd, number 6, Larry Ward, last week a 3rd place, his best since, well, February 1st at Seattle, when he had the hometown crowd cheering for him.
Right, you know, Larry Ward, but you know, he's been living down in South Carolina for a long time, so this is his home track. So probably if anybody that's racing that lives around here, Larry Ward's the closest man to a hometown boy.
We're now on the white flag lap, and don't forget, he might even celebrate a birthday with a win today. It would be Honda's first win of the year.
I know that would go a long way to help Larry's mental frame of mind down the Honda Troy pits, because I'm telling you, he was about as embarrassed as could be earlier today when his mom showed up with a picture of him from his first birthday eating a whole plate full of chocolate cake. She showed everyone, and I know Larry was just mortified.
Well, you know, he's only 26. It seems like he's been around forever.
Well, he has been around forever. You know, he and I raced together, and I've been out of it for 5 years now.
Okay, Kevin Windham, number 7. In first with Damon Bradshaw, the local favorite. In second, Larry Ward in third with Albertine in fourth. No opposition from there.
You know, we're watching Kevin Windham make this last half lap. We saw a nice heel clicker there for the fans. Rick, what's it going to have to do for this kid to keep this momentum into the 250 main event?
Well, he's got the strength. He's got nothing to lose, so he has no pressure. And I don't think that you'll see people fighting him for it if it comes down to it. Like Jeremy was saying, hopefully that can get in between, those riders can get in between him and Emick.
Windham heads for the checkers right now with Bradshaw 4 seconds back. ESPN2's coverage of AMA Supercross from Charlotte continues in a moment. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, where 8 riders have now qualified for tonight's main event, the Supercross from Charlotte. These 4, the most recent. Marty's with our winner of the second qualifying heat, Kevin Windham.
Yes, and Kevin Windham, a very happy winner of this heat. Take us through the pass, because nice move.
Yeah, well, I kind of forgot where it happened. I remember it was through the whoops, and I outcharged him coming into this turn. I had him in front of me, and wherever he let off, I'm gonna hold it on 1 more second longer, and it worked out for me. And I'm just real happy to go ahead and get that heat out of the way. Really excited about my bike. My Yamaha is working great for me, and a little disappointed that this is gonna be my last ride on it.
Hey guys, what do you mean last ride on it?
Well, for the 97 season.
Oh, okay. Well, see, we have to clear those things up. Hey, finished third on the podium here last year. Look out, McGrath. This guy might give you all you can handle here. Good luck in the main. Thanks a lot.
The semifinal rounds, Marty, lately have spelled opportunity for several hungry riders, and it could get hairy. Check it out. Stay with us. Before we get into our opening semifinal round, a look at the Suzuki track map, Davey Combs, and it shows us a short starting straight, about the only thing short in the entire layout.
Yeah, that's right, Art. We've seen the sharp first turn, which has been creating problems for everyone all night long. Next, the riders will head down the front stretch into what we call the Showboat Triple. Then it's a bank 90-degree turn, then back across Mount Charlotte, which is a funky layered set of jump. Next, it's the Horseshoe, where Jeff Emmink fell, back across the start to the finish line jump, and then a long, rare fourth gear straightaway here in Supercross. It's another bank turn at the north end, some more long triples, and then it's a short, stiff set of whoops. It's probably the most technical part of the track. It's the minefield where we saw Hughes go down. Back across the first turn. There's just 5 turns on the track, Art, but about a minute 20 lap time.
Yeah, this track, it throws a lot of things in there. There's some real difficult jumps. The track is really soft, so it's changing every lap. And also, you throw that speed into there, it makes a rider really have to focus on what he's doing.
As we saw just moments ago, Ryan Hughes in this semifinal round, along with Mike Kudrowski, who was just edged out of making the main event from the qualifying round. Buddy Antunez, the reigning Arena Cross champion, after the Arena Cross season over with, coming back. Michael Jones back trying to get into the main event here in this one, along with Ty Wallace, and a one-time winner in San Jose, Doug Dubach.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid field for a semi. Sorry, the board going sideways right now.
Just about set. Mike Kudrowski, number 100. He gets shut out of the deal. Hughes.
Looks like
a nice move with Pocoroba.
Yeah, Pocoroba got through clean that time. He was the guy who took Jeremy out, but right there we see, I think that was Buddy Antunez, a sharp line down through the triples.
Number 19, Buddy Antunez is right. He's been fast on these tracks coming off from the Arena Cross, but he's had some crashes to contend with.
Yeah, see, Buddy's been around a long time and he's got a lot of track savvy, but I think these Arena Crosses really give him the confidence to come back to Supercross and really show what he's got.
Using all the track on Hughes, but here comes Hughes into the Horseshoe.
Ryan Hughes, you know, he got beat up pretty bad in that first heat, falling falling down, having the bike land on him, but it looks like he's got his speed and he's got his composure. I'm going to pick him for this semi-event.
Kedrowski moving into fourth. Let's remind you the top 5 from each semifinal round will make it the transfer to the main event.
Yeah, I'm good. It's good to see Ryan Hughes back in there. After that crash, that heat race, I wasn't sure how hurt he was. It took a long time to get up, and he certainly hit the dirt pretty hard.
And after last year, his courageous performance, Mike Kedrowski, number 100, making a move on Pocoroba.
That's a pretty outstanding job that Mike Kedrowski's taking a year off, not racing, then coming back and being a contender. He was never the dominant man in Supercross, but he's really adapted to this new Honda, and he likes it out there.
Boy, he loved that Daytona track. 3 wins, and this is very similar, less technical.
Actually, I think he had 4 wins.
That's right, 4 wins. Out in front, Ryan Hughes. Let's go down to Marty Reed, trackside.
Well, you guys were talking about questioning Hughes' physical condition. I talked to him right before the heat race here, and he says, no, everything's fine. He says, I had trouble seeing because of the lightness and the darkness of the shadows. He says, especially after I lost my goggles, he says, I had no chance whatsoever of getting back into it.
Well, fast turns on the pit board. Rick Johnson, as we take a look at those battling behind our leader, Ryan Hughes.
Yeah, with the cold air and that soft dirt, once you take your goggles off, you're pretty much lost because you're blinking the majority of the time, so your eyes are open about 40% of the time. So if you take off your goggles, you're going to be lost out here. But we do have a special guest up here in the stands, the driver of the number 40 Coors Light car, Robbie Gordon, who has did his fair share of motocross when he was a young kid. And what brings you out here? You just got done qualifying in Martinsville.
Well, I've always been a big fan of motocross racing. I grew up racing motocross, and I think it's a good place for all young kids to grow up doing things like that. I remember the old days when I used to get to race against Mike Kedrowski, and we're about the same age and racing out at Saddleback Park out in California. But to come out here to this track and see what it looks like. We run Winston Cup cars here at Charlotte, and they build like a Supercross track here, and I think the guys are putting on a good show.
Now, you've driven everything under the sun, from off-road trucks to GTU, GTO, Indy cars, and do you feel that motocross set a good base for that, or what do you contribute to your success? Because you started as a young kid on a motorcycle.
I think motocross had a lot to do with it. I think it got your rhythm and your timing down, and it's all the same. I mean, it's the same thing. Even though we're not jumping jumps, it's rhythm in the corner, your balance in the car, and motorcycles are great for balance. I always had a lot of fun doing it. I definitely miss it, but right now, with my IndyCar career, I haven't been riding a lot, and my Winston Cup career, so I went out to Glamis during Thanksgiving, played around a little bit, and had a lot of fun. Remember how much I really do miss the motocross.
Robbie, here's your playmate of early years, Mike Kedrowski, number 100. Rick coming forward to saying how tough it is to come back after a year off. Honda of Troy really gave him an excellent opportunity, and he had that desire still in his body. He had to come back and try it.
Yeah, and Mike was one of those that tried to go from 2 wheels to 4 wheels, like they did what I'm trying to do. So you're always trying, and definitely 2 wheels will help you.
Our first semifinal round concludes when we return to Charlotte Motor Speedway. AMA Supercross is being brought to you by Dunlop. Simply the best for your bike. Welcome back to semifinal action right now. Ryan Hughes, Mike Kedrowski, Buddy Anthonez, Pocoroba, and Jones, the top 5. They look like they are in a pretty good position to transfer to the main event.
Well, yeah, I think, Ryan Hughes showing a little flair there. That's good. I mean, he took a hard lick in the first heat, so it's good to see him healthy. Maybe he's got a shot at this main event. We'd just like to thank Robbie Gordon for coming up and wish him good luck tomorrow at Martinsville. He's got to start on the back row, buddy, so you got your work cut out for you, but we appreciate you coming up.
Well, thanks. I've always been a big fan, and I'm excited that Supercross is here in Charlotte.
All right, bud. Thanks. Good luck tomorrow.
Boy,
Art?
In his rookie year, pole position. That's fantastic. White flag lap underway for semifinal number 1. Ryan Hughes, after crashing in his qualifying heat, coming back with lots of strength. He was not going to let this track beat him, and it's only a few more turns left as we go into the horseshoe with Ryan Hughes. Of course, coming up in semifinal number 2, Jeff Emig has yet to qualify for the main event. But Ryan Hughes, a pat on the back to this Kawasaki rider. The checkered flag is almost ready to wave. It does so for Ryan Hughes. The official results and a word from our winner when we come back. With semifinal 1 completed, 5 more riders have made it to the main event. Check out the Suzuki top 5 as we go down to Marty Reed with Ryan Hughes.
Yes, a very happy Ryan Hughes. We talked right before the race. You said you were having trouble with the shadows. One of the reasons that you went down in the heat race didn't seem to bother you this time.
Yeah, the first race I felt really good. I got out to a good lead, and I was maybe riding a little faster than I should in a couple sections, and the bike got away from me a little bit. I have a trouble seeing at night, but you know, I think everybody might have a little bit. It's a little, the light's good in some spots and shadows in others, but I feel good that last time I rode, I just kind of took it easy in some spots and got some lines down, and the main event should be pretty good.
Rebuild your confidence? Think you can take it tonight?
Yeah, I think so. I felt really good out there. My bike's running really good. The Kawasaki Bridgestone tires running great, and mechanic Ron Wood. And seems like I got a lot of people out here cheering for me, so after last year.
Ryan Hughes, your winner here in semi number 1.
Interesting he should mention about the lighting out there, because it looks a lot better than it has in years past, or at least last year in our first year here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jeff Emig getting ready now for the second semifinal round. Some of the old tracks in the old days didn't have that much illumination.
No, definitely they didn't, but that was the amateur ranks. But I used to race a place called Speedway 117 right down by Mexico, and they had the track set up for the short track, and the motocross track went in and out of it, so you went in and out of complete darkness. But the thing that's different about here is that you have those spotlights that they've added to the track that actually brings the track real bright in some sections, and it's making some shadows. So what it might do is give you an illusion of a bump is bigger than it looks, or it's smaller than it looks, and you take it for granted. So I don't think that he's complaining that the lights are bad. It's just he has to adjust to the shadows on the track.
Right, as you see the banking of lights in our shot right here, and the tremendous crowd of over 35,000 people. Jeff Emig, the points lead has gone from 11 after Houston to 9 to 6 to 2 in the last 3 races. And it looks like he would lose the lead last week when all of a sudden Jeremy McGrath went down. Here in the first qualifying heat, Emig went down. So anything can happen at any time, Davey.
Yeah, I tell you what, Art, Jeff Emig's run toward the titles hit a sandbar. He's a very capable rider. He's extremely confident, but at the same time, he's always had the McGrath factor in the back of his mind. We saw it a lot more in 1995 and 1996. This year, Jeff seemed to break away with that. But this year, I don't know. It's toward the end of the season, things are starting to change, and Jeff's getting just a little bit of pressure.
Marty?
Well, I've been keeping my eye on him down here. He was smiling. He looked confident, shaking his head. And Jeremy Albrecht, his mechanic, is talking to him, getting his confidence built up. But I got to tell you, if he doesn't win this semi convincingly, I think it's just going to destroy his psyche for the final.
Number 12 is Phil Lawrence. He's getting the goggles on, Rick.
Hey, Michael Spinks looked awful happy before he jumped in the ring with Mike Tyson too. So when you're going into a championship event like this, you got to go at it and just give it everything you got. If you got a sore knees, sore back, whatever it is, you just block it out. Put yourself in the right frame of mind. So that's what Jeff Emig's trying to do. He wants to go out and regain his confidence in this semi.
Clowers right next to Emig on the starting gate. Ryan Huffman's in this one. Mike Caton, Phil Lawrence, Jimmy Button, Lawrence's teammates. So we're ready to go. 5 more riders hungry to qualify for the main event. Lawrence gets bumped at the start. Number 3, way out in front where he should be.
Looked like someone fired Emig out of a gun that time. It was a perfect start. You know, we were talking about the lights earlier. I wonder what it's like having those lights facing you when you're sitting on the starting gate coming in that first corner.
There's a lot of factors out there, and you don't know until you're sitting in the saddle. But right now, Jeff Emig looks like the champion that he is.
Ryan Huffman, who's got good starts recently, Davey, he's in second position. He's in good spot now.
Let me tell you something about Ryan Huffman. I said this before. He's out there as a true privateer. You get guys like Jimmy Button, Larry Ward, and even some of the Moto XXX guys. They're on a support team. Ryan Huffman and his buddy Jason McCormick, a couple fast Northwestern riders, have been riding their butts off all year long, and they're doing it without a lot of help.
Right behind Ryan Huffman in third is Jimmy Button.
That's good to see. You know, Jimmy took a hard lick in the whoop-de-doos in the first heat, so now that's good to see. He's not injured. He's coming back, and he's riding strong. So looks like we'll see Jimmy Button in the main event.
His first podium, Jimmy Button in 250 action, was this year at Minnesota, as we get a good jump shot here.
Yeah, Jeff Emig setting precedence as he goes out. In a half lap, he's already got a 3-second lead, and so what I think he's probably going to do now is just maybe experiment a little bit out on the track and try some new things in case he gets a bad start in the main event.
Sometimes you can tell RJ's from the old school whoop-de-doos. We don't use that term anymore. It's whoops. It's the whoops.
Whoops.
At least I didn't say whoop-de-choos. That's real old school.
Grayson Goodman has moved into 5th spot. That's the bubble right there. And he's pulling away from the opposition. So the first 5 spots pretty well defined already.
Grayson Goodman's one of those guys who sharpened his teeth this year on the Arena Cross Series. Now that series over, we're seeing a little bit of a thicker field in the Supercross Series, but at the same time, the injuries have decimated some of the other factory riders.
The end of our second semifinal is drawing near. The checkers are coming up from Charlotte Motor Speedway when we come back.
Now you can walk into your Honda dealer and ride off with no down payment, low financing, and a custom watch. And best of all, you can ride off with a new Honda Magna or Shadow. The Honda Ride-Off ends May 31st.
Now, the bike you want equals big-time bucks, correct? Incorrect. Do the math. During Suzuki Fest 97, get up to $500 in Suzuki accessories free with a selected Suzuki, like the awesome GSX-R 1100. You also get free accessories with the Katana 600 and 750 and the RF 900R. And choose from financing options like 0 down and 9.9% APR on selected models. But hurry, Suzuki Fest won't last. So you plus Suzuki equals... Well, come on, add it up.
For 35 years, I did the sports in 4 minutes. Now you got this channel with breaking news, highlights, scores. You know, I was doing sports bloopers back then. Well, we used to call them goofy gaffes. Same garbage.
AMA Supercross on ESPN2 is being brought to you by Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. Quality training for the motorcycle industry. Semifinal number 2 underway. Time is running out. Here's the significant pass while we were away. Jimmy Button and his teammate Phil Lawrence. Number 12 Lawrence, number 18 Button. Lawrence took it over. Here is our leader right now, Jeff Emig. It's Emig, Ryan Huffman, Lawrence, Button, and Goodman. The top 5, it looks like they'll be the ones to transfer.
A very impressive ride for Emig, but again, Ryan Huffman, a real nice ride, beating the 2 Chaparral Yamahas. It's good to see a true privateer in there.
See, I don't know if this is going to be good for Emig or not. Yeah, he's got his confidence, but he's beaten a bunch of guys that he should have beaten in the first round. And so, but he's out there running at half speed. Jeremy McGrath got off to a start, got hit, had to come from behind, had to charge the whole time, had Ezra Lusk pushing him. That's a good combination to have, finish a race on top going into the main.
One thing about Jeff Emig, he missed the factory practice session on Friday, so he can get the checkered flag there. It might be beneficial to him to have ridden this semi. He and his teammate Ryan Hughes didn't get a lot of track time in yesterday.
And a great finish behind Emig, Ryan Huffman. Marty Reed visits with Jeff Emig next from the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Now you can walk into your Honda dealer and ride off on a champion. With CBR 600 F3, walk in and ride off on the best 600 sport bike. Walk in soon and ride off with a custom watch. The Honda Ride-Off ends May 31st.
For years, KTM has been a quiet company. Things have changed. Last year, we unleashed our 4-strokes on the racing world, taking the AMA West 4-stroke motocross championships by storm. If we can do this on a Supercross track, just think how much fun you'll have on our off-road and street-legal models. Listen for them at your local KTM dealer during KTM's 30-year anniversary celebration.
What's the right grip feel like? Should you use the same club on every chip shot? The answers are in Golf Digest. No matter how well you play, you'll find tips and advice that will dramatically improve your game. Guaranteed. Want to know where the slot is at the top of your backswing? Or if you're good enough to carry a 4-iron, subscribe to Golf Digest. 12 issues are only $19.77. You'll also get our video. Hit it longer and straighter, free.
Call 800-247-3900. That's 800-247-3900.
Take everything you ever knew about cruiser motorcycles, everything you ever learned from your older brother, your friends, biker movies, and Because the Marauder is a cruiser like no other, one only a high-performance company could have built. The Suzuki Marauder. It's time to move on.
Time to move on to this new leather jacket, free with every Marauder for a limited time.
AMA Supercross is being brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT, the way we call collect today. 18 riders have qualified for the Charlotte Supercross. These 5 advancing out of our second semifinal, and the guy out in front was Jeff Emig. Marty's with him now.
Down here with Jeff Emig. I got to ask you, confidence in the mental side of this game is so much. How much did this win and the ease of it instill it back inside you?
Well, I just needed more time on the track and stuff. Like you could see in my heat race, I just wasn't riding like I usually ride, and I was just a little tight, and I really loosened up a lot in that. I was seeing my times, but times were good. And you know, main thing is I just got to loosen up. I just been really tight lately.
So Jeremy's not inside your head right now?
No, I'm inside my head, and that was the whole reason why I don't think that I've been riding like myself is because of me. And like, it's not because of Jeremy or it's because of anybody else. It's because of the pressure that I put on myself, you know, to win these races. And I get it, you know, I just can't put that sort of pressure on myself.
Guys, we're going to find out in the main event.
Right, Marty. The end of one of the most competitive years in Supercross is not that far away. Round 14, Texas Stadium, also featuring the final race for the 125 Western Crown. The season's finale at Sam Boyd Stadium, Las Vegas, likely to be the awarding of the Supercross Championship plate and an East-West 125 shootout for the big bucks. 2 exciting events left on our 1997 schedule. 125 East #1 plate for 1997 will be awarded soon as the sport's future superstars. The 125s are coming up next. As we leave you, though, let's check out this week's Honda Flashback.
In this week's Honda Flashback, we're taking you all the way back to 1990, the Dallas Cotton Bowl with the early leader Damon Bradshaw, followed closely by Jean-Michel Bayle. A little mistake there by Bradshaw. Looks like Bale's taking over the lead, but watch Damon to the inside. Thinks he's got the pass made, and Ward went around both of them on the inside. What we had was 3 very different talents. You have the old veteran Jeff Ward, the youngster Bradshaw out front, and the Frenchman Jean-Michel Bayle sneaking his way to the front. Under pressure from Guy Cooper late in the race, Ward goes down. That took him out of the race. But out front, the battle continued between Damon Bradshaw and Jean-Michel Bayle. And watch Bayle right here with an inside line. Turns on a dime, still jumps the double jump, and takes over the lead. His pace was too much for anyone to match on this technical, slick Dallas track as he pulled away to win easily, picking up another win in the 1990 season, followed by the hard-charging Damon Bradshaw.
While we were away, these 2 riders packing it in first and second in the last chance qualifier. They get the last 2 spots at the gate for the 250 main, and right now the 125 riders are on the track with the Eastern Division title on the line. Timmy Ferry, number 22. He hasn't won a race this year. However, looking at the Suzuki point standings, he has a 13-point lead on the 2-time race winner, Stefan Roncada. If Roncada wins tonight, all Tim Ferry needs to win the title is an 8th place finish. Will he be racing to win or play it conservative?
I'm going to race to win, and, you know, we'll just have to see how it goes in the race. But I'd like to win one before the series is over, and it would be nice to go out with the last race win. But you know, if something comes down where I have to settle for second or something like that for a title and not get into it with anybody, then, you know, I'll have to do it.
Ferry's looking for his very first professional Supercross title here tonight. As we take a look at the starting grid, number 22 and number 70, we expect those guys to be out there on top with number 112. Ricky Carmichael, so impressive, Rick Johnson.
Yeah, Ricky's just come on fire. You know, I think a lot of people were questioning his size when he got onto a big bike, but I think he's put all those critics to sleep. He's been really aggressive, probably more aggressive than any of the bigger guys out there, and showing it by winning back-to-back. And he's, I think, definitely one of the favorites for this main event.
You were slightly impressed with Tim Ferry the first time you saw him, right?
The first time I saw Tim Ferry is when I was doing kind of a farewell tour. I went over to Japan with my wife, Stephanie, and I watched this guy who I didn't know, a 3-digit guy jumping all the triples and doubles before any of the top American guys. I thought it was some Japanese guy that I never heard of. And in fact, Davey was over there because Timmy won won a challenge, I think, was an amateur national championship.
Yeah, the amateur national championships at Loretta Lynn's.
And so he got to go over there, and he was really impressive. And, you know, I thought I would see a lot more of him, but now he's coming back. And, hey, they don't ask you at the bank how you bring home that championship. It doesn't matter.
That's right, Tim Ferry. The last championship he won was at Loretta Lynn's. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Lee McCullum, Ferry's mechanic, is concerned. He was not happy with the way he rode the heat race, said he was too tentative. Says, I want him to go out there and try and win, not worry about this championship. He could find himself into some real trouble. So McCullum's concerned, and I don't know, I can't tell in Ferry's eyes whether he's that worried about it. I know, you know, he's counting places right now. We'll see how he does coming out the gate.
He's been after the 125 East title for 6 years. In 1992, he was on a Kawasaki. He placed 10th. 93 on a Yamaha, placed 6th. 94 on a Honda, placed 3rd. Then he went to the Fourth Factory for a 4th place finish in 95. He felt he really should have had the championship that year, but did not come through. 96, he was injured, took a 6th in the points total. 97, could this be his year? Ricky Carmichael, of course, is looking to win the battle, not the war here tonight.
You know, Carmichael is one of those guys where if he gets out front, kiss him goodbye. Even from the back, we've seen him come through and make some good moves to get the wins and everything like that. But on a track like this, not a lot of corners. If he can put his jumping technique to good use out here, we might have Carmichael run away. But he's got to get through that first turn, and he's got to get away from Roncada.
The 1-900 Pro Race chalk line is out there for the $500 for the 125 rider who gets the whole shot. We're ready to go for the main event from the Charlotte Supercross. The 125s are underway. Timmy Ferry, number 22, great break from the gate. Boy, it looked like it almost is a tie for the whole shot award, but there's a tie for last right here.
Oh, definitely. We got a big pile up in the first turn, but it's none of the big players. So I think we're still going to see a very strong race for the lead here. Timmy Ferry got the whole shot, but remember, he's racing for the championship, so what he's probably going to be doing is watching for Roncada.
I see Carmichael and Nice and Roncada right there behind Tim, but the guys we lost in the first turn include Dement and Brian Deegan. That hard luck season continues.
Along with Schnell, out in front, Tim Ferry. Can he hold on with number 70 and number 112 right behind him? 70 Carmichael in second place. Stefan Roncada pressuring in third. Roncada has got Jimmy Nice behind him in fourth.
Well, I think what you're going to see now is Timmy Ferry just try to relax and get comfortable. You know, if I was him, what I try to do is not worry about Ricky Carmichael and Roncada. Just keep my eye on those guys and think about this championship. He's made it through the first battle, and that's the first turn. Now he's got to get to the checkered flag.
We might incidentally note that Scott Sheik is not racing tonight of Team Honda, a rotator cuff injury. Team Honda's not even here on site with their semi-truck. They're going straight to Dallas.
What a difference a year makes. Last year they were the dominant force. Actually, for the past 5 to 6 years, they've been the dominant force, and then now they're not even here tonight.
Now Ferry's being passed once and then twice. Carmichael in front with Roncada number 112, and then Tim Ferry in third. Jimmy Nice in fourth still.
I think we're going to see Ferry put in a strategic ride here. Like Rick said, when you take the money to the bank, they don't ask you how you got it. And with this championship, that's what he's looking for. He's not worried about what the record book says.
The look of concern by Lee McCullum, his mechanic from the sidelines over in the mechanics area, as Tim Ferry, number 22, now cannot afford a mistake.
No, you know, but I think it's more impressive for him to go out there and say finish third and take home the championship than it would be for him to be way out in front and throw it away and make a big mistake. So I think this shows a lot of maturity that he can see the guys that he's dicing for the championship, but he's not letting them get away from him.
Charlie Bulgard is in fifth spot as we see the two guys out in front, Ricky Carmichael and Stefan Roncada. We've seen this combination before, Davey, where Roncada just steady, waiting for the opportunity for either Carmichael to go down or for him to get a good passing opportunity.
That's right, and these two guys are the ones that have been winning the main events here in the East region. What you're seeing is a preview for next year. Tim Ferry, after this title, will no doubt graduate to the 250 class. It's going to be Carmichael and Roncada in this region for sure.
Roncada winning the last two main events of 125 East Coast action, and Carmichael also with 2 wins on the season. The 1 win in Atlanta, his first in the pro ranks, and then a win in Orlando, Florida.
With this being a longer track and you got Roncada and Carmichael out there dicing for the lead, you got Tim Ferry that can sit back and watch those guys. So now you might see a battle with this racetrack being longer. You might see fatigue come into it at the end of the race. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. We got a lot more racing to go.
Chad Watts right there. He's back in his homeland, the mechanic for Ricky Carmichael, who's added some exciting interest to this year, his rookie season. Lots of wins mixed with crashes, and this week he's been battling back from the strep throat.
I ride just about every day of the week, and this week I rode Monday, and I only rode like a couple of times, like once Tuesday, and just did some starts Wednesday. And if you see me sitting down, it's because I'm tired and haven't rode all week, but I should be okay for 12 laps. I might get a little tired and winded towards the end, but hopefully I won't be tired from picking up my bike this weekend.
Ricky wants to win this one here today for that hometown guy, Chad Watts, his mechanic.
Well, I'm impressed with what I'm seeing by Ricky Carmichael's mechanic. He showed him a lap time. A lot of times when you see that, that's a sign of confidence. When I would get lap times, it was like, okay, let me know what I'm running. And in my mind, I know I could run, say, he out there at 1:16. I can run that for 20 laps.
Battle for fourth is on. Jimmy Neese putting some pressure on.
Brock Sellards, that's one of my guys from Ohio again. He's been an underdog this year and got started off with a bad start at the Indianapolis whenever Carmichael ran into the back of him. Kind of a controversial thing, but he's put in some good rides, got on the podium, and maybe tonight he can do it again.
Ron Cotta, 4 seconds in back of our leader, Ricky Carmichael. 8 seconds back of the leader is Ferry, but Ferry's pulling away from 4th and 5th. AMX Supercross action, more of it. 125 main event.
Get ready for the thrill of your life. AMX.
1,520 cc's. You'll go through towns where you'll be the biggest thing that happens all year. The new Valkyrie Tour. America's the boulevard it was born to cruise.
RPM tonight, Monday through Saturday at 7 and Sunday at 8, only on ESPN2.
Hi, I'm Gary Semix with this week's Suzuki Riding Tip. Last week I talked about how to physically train for motocross. This week I'm going to tell you the importance of a good diet to help you stay in top shape. You wouldn't put bad fuel into your motorcycle, so don't put it into your body. You need to eat at least 3 square meals a day and eat a lot of complex carbohydrates, because motocross being an endurance sport, you need a lot of fuel to keep going for your endurance. Another thing that's very important is to use sports drinks and vitamin and mineral supplements. But remember, common sense and moderation. And of course, stay away from junk food. For this week's Suzuki Riding Tip, I'm Gary Semix.
Art Ekman, Davey Coombs, Rick Johnson, and Marty Reed from Charlotte, North Carolina. The 125 Eastern Supercross title will be decided soon. But this is the guy that's winning the battle here tonight. Number 70, Ricky Carmichael. Stefan Roncada, second. Tim Ferry, third. He's in line to pick off the title. Neese is behind Sellards to round out the top 5.
It's, there we go with the confidence again, you know, be perfect. He's looking at the lap times. He's running consistently 1:16s every lap. So that shows a lot of confidence in a man as young as he is. But right now, the race that's probably the most enjoyable race is Tim Ferry. He's got a mile in between with people in front of him and people behind him. He's just out there enjoying it. You know, now we take a look at the Honda stopwatch and see what kind of lap times they're doing to get around this track. But right now, he's enjoying every second. He's thinking, oh, man, do I hear the chain tightening up? Am I getting flat tires? Is there a problem with the bike? You know, am I starting to get tired? All these different things. He's just trying to focus on just getting to that finish line.
You're talking from experience, aren't you? Remember 1982, Rick, whenever you went after that 250 title. Last race of the year, Colorado, beating Donnie Hansen. What happened?
I got a little too overzealous, and I didn't have this kind of race. I had to finish 5th if Donnie won, and I ended up, I wanted to try to go out like a champion, but being young and stupid, I went and broke my front wheel and ended up losing the championship by 3 points. And that's still the hardest win or lose for me to deal with still to this day. But right now, I wish I would have had, you know, a whole race to enjoy it like Tim Ferry is.
You mean 7 championships? You never forgot about losing that first one?
Oh, when you go, you know, actually, I was a privateer. I was running a support Yamaha, and I was making, I think, $18,000 that year. And came back and almost won the championship, but that one hurt.
I'm sure because of your performance that year, though. The till went ching-ching. 117-2 for Ricky Carmichael, our leader.
Well, his mechanic might be a little bit quick, or maybe Ricky's starting to relax a little bit because he's pulled out a little bit of a lead. And that's not uncharacteristic for somebody who's got a lead like that, just to relax a little bit and maybe lose 1 second. But he's still jumping things that Tim Ferry's not.
Less than 8 laps to go. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Well, down here with Lee McCollum. Lee, I know you wanted him to go out and win. He's in a very comfortable, secure third. What's your thoughts?
He got a good start, and he's going for it. But Ricky and Ron Carter are going really fast, and he's probably looking, hey, third may not be so bad.
Lee doesn't seem too happy, guys, but I'll tell you what, the championship will smell pretty good by the end of this one.
That's right. A major catastrophe would have to happen for Ferry to not be titled the 125 Eastern King here tonight. 5 second-place finishes, a 5th at St. Louis, but those 5 second-place finishes put him consistently on top of the points, Davey.
You know, another one of those little cases of irony, or rather maybe a coincidence. Rick, what was your number in 1982 when you lost that title?
Number 22. So, I think that, I really admire Tim Ferry, that he's taken his time. This is what championships are made of. If you win with second place, well, you obviously did something better than the other guys. If you DNF for some races and that's what a championship is all about. You got to win the war, not just the battle. And Ricky Carmichael's been tough in each battle, but he's lost a few, and that's what's killed him in the war.
Last year's best finish, 3rd places at Orlando, Minnesota, and Daytona. His last 125 wins came in 1995 at Orlando and Daytona. Stefan Roncada in our picture right now. What a series of consistency this guy has had. Oh, and just as I say it, Roncada goes Superman flying down.
Yeah, he just maybe got a little bit too comfortable in that gap there, but now he's got to get up and try to get going before Tim Ferry comes and deals with him. But I think if you watch, Tim Ferry's not even going to bother with him.
I think we can throw away that smooth as bail quote I was getting ready to use.
You were all ready, too. Look at this.
He's coming through the whoops right there. He lost his footing, and now all of a sudden that threw his balance completely off. He's over the bars, and then he just hung on to it. He's lucky he didn't go down hard and go completely over the bars.
Roncada, 3 podiums in 3 events this year.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Rick. Ferry came up behind him and decided to maybe just let him go. Maybe seeing how wild he's riding, doesn't want to catch any of the flack from that. But if he holds him up too much, Ferry's a competitor. He just might go ahead and move into second.
Well, in my position in that championship race, the second race in the last moto of the year, I had to win. Donnie Hansen had to get 3rd, and Brock Glover had the best race of the season, took off. And so what I did is I just kept trying to go slow, and I'd open up the door for Donnie Hansen. I'd try to knock him down. So, Roncada might try to do the same thing. So Tim Ferry's just best to just sit and watch him.
Well, luckily, nothing's wrong with Roncada's bike with 6 laps to go. The run for the checkers and the championship ceremony when we get back.
The bike you dream about means serious cash, right? Wrong, people. Do the math. During Suzuki Fest 97, get up to $500 in Suzuki accessories free when you buy a selected Suzuki. Like the muscle-bound Intruder 1400. You'll also get free accessories with the Intruder 800 and the Savage 650. And choose from finance options like 0 down and 9.9% APR on selected models. But hurry, Suzuki Fest won't last. So you and Suzuki means, well, you do the math.
From ESPN Labs, a breakthrough in sports coverage.
What about an interactive ESPN?
ESPN Net Sports Zone, with everything you need to be a better fan. ESPN Net Sports Zone.
While we were away, Tim Ferry is able to take advantage of Roncada and move into second place. Ferry just into his natural rhythm right now. He probably made the best move now. As number 7, he goes for the most wins in the 125 Eastern season.
Yeah, you know, for Carmichael, what he's going to have here is maybe a de facto championship. And by the way, Roncada just made a pass.
Just got him back.
Yeah, the last time they came through, just to cut back to these two guys, Lee McCollum, Tim Ferry's mechanic, put out eyes in the back, and he showed it to Tim Ferry, which might have meant, look out, Roncada's behind you, but he showed it to Roncada, too, maybe letting him know that they're watching him if he tries a takeout move somewhere in the back part of the track.
Yeah, it didn't really look like Roncada had a problem. He just sort of backed down, and now he's back on it again, you know. And his mechanics is giving him smart signals now. It's telling him basically to let him go. You don't want to fight with the guy that you're dicing for a championship with, because I know if it was me and I was dicing with somebody, I'm going to try to take him out if I can.
Carmichael looking for his 3rd win of the season. Unfortunate, John Dowd had to bow out of this season early.
Yeah, John had started out on fire, and of course we knew last week at Pontiac that he was hurt and he wasn't going to be there. But yeah, for Carmichael, this will give him 3 wins of the year compared to 2 for Roncada, 2 for Dowd, and that's a lot of momentum for next year, too.
Carmichael, Roncada, Ferry, Sellards, and Curry are top 5 right now here in the final 125 Eastern race. And Schnell has started in 16th after that first turn mishap. He's now in 6th place with Dowd and Sheik out. He could move up in the final point standings.
You know, right there, we just saw Tim Ferry really back off. Like Roncada slowed down too, and you could see Ferry doing that. Ferry is going to completely stay away from him now. I think they're worried that there might be a little, I don't know, hanky-panky in the back corners there, maybe a takeout move, and Ferry's going to avoid that like the plague.
Well, you all are talking about how long the laps are here. You have no idea how long they are to Tim Ferry, all right? These things, he might as well be racing the Baja 1000, because every lap he takes, it's going to take him forever.
2 laps to go as you see the board goes out to Tim Ferry.
Says 2 laps and ride, okay? So now he just got to breathe, focus, and just make sure he clears those doubles, because there's nobody around that's challenging him right now. He just has to focus and really enjoy the moment.
If Ferry can hold upright, Suzuki then has their 10th 125 title in 26 occasions as far as chances during the season.
Yeah, what do you think that's going to mean to them if they get a 250 title in a couple weeks here? First one in a long time there.
Well, Roger DeCoster can smile and take a deep breath.
Well, it'll mean a lot to them. They've had a real long dry spell when it comes to 250, but you know, we haven't been talking a lot about this kid, Ricky Carmichael. You know, he's just been out there putting it to him, basically doing what Jeremy McGrath was doing to everybody last year. So I'm really impressed with the enthusiasm and the effort and everything that he puts into his riding. He's going to be a factor for a long time.
Tony Berluti looking on, Team Suzuki.
Tony's got some experience with some championships. He got Damon Huffman to a couple out in the West region.
Ricky Carmichael, number 70. What a joy it's been. Exciting, no matter what happens with this kid.
Yeah, you watch him jump. He uses the best of his shortcomings. We got 1 lap to go, but you watch him. That kid uses everything he's got. You know, his short body. He moves that thing around the bike, and he just really works it.
In our final lap, Schnell has moved up to 5th.
Rick, does Ricky Carmichael remind you of Damon Bradshaw in 1989?
Yeah, he does. He hits the jumps with everything he's got. His feet are off the pegs half the time, but if you notice, he's real balanced, waving to the crowd, really confident, and that's the kind of stuff that once you get a hold of it, you want to hang on to it as long as you can, because it can be anything that takes that away from you, and it'll be a little bit different when he gets on a 250.
Carmichael looking to win the battle, but Ferry looking to win the war.
Well, while we got a second here, I'd like, and I know you would as well, I'd like to say hello to David Bailey. Sorry you're not here, and we always have a blast when I get to work with you, David, so I hope everything's going well, and I'm not going to see you at the next telecast, but these guys will.
I hope so, David. Get well soon.
Did you see that Bailey light cross up there?
Yeah.
David Bailey could throw the bike sideways like it was no one's business, and Carmichael got the same rhythm.
And Tim Ferry can roll over and get to the finish line. Whoa!
Look out there. Lee, a good thing he wasn't watching. Show me.
Show me the money is what he's going to say.
That's it. Show me the money, yes. As Tim Ferry is looking for his first championship since Loretta Lynn amateur days. Here's the checkers for Ricky Carmichael. His 3rd win of the season.
He's a superstar.
And Roncada will take 2nd place. Here comes the newly crowned 125 Eastern champion right now, Tim Ferry, Team Suzuki.
A very rare second place knack-knack, or rather I should say third place there. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen someone throw a knack-knack from third.
Hey, that's an awesome feeling, something that you work so hard for. And if you notice, you see the Yamaha mechanics and other people congratulating him as well, because everybody knows how hard you work. You know, that was John Rosenstiel that worked for Brock for so many years, and Marty Tripes and everybody. So he knows what it's like to put in a whole season to win for a championship. And it's great to see camaraderie between riders. Ricky Carmichael knows he has won the battle, but he knows that Tim Ferry won the war.
125 titles, the first Suzuki 125 title in 2 years. The last time did it, Tony Berluti and Damon Huffman combined to win the West in '95. We'll be back with the ceremony right after this.
I'm a spoken kind of guy. There's nothing more important to me than a quiet chat with my son Shaquille. I just marched to the phone and dialed 1-800-COLLECT. The money I saved him, he can use to buy some new backboards. Take it through the hole, Shaquille. He's gonna and they wonder where he gets it from.
1-800-COLLECT. Save the people you call up to 44%.
Hi, Chuck. How's business?
Okay.
Hey, what's on your screen?
QuickBooks accounting software from the makers of Quicken.
Yeah, I really don't have time to learn new software.
If you can write a check, you can use QuickBooks. Answer a few questions, and it tailors itself to your business. Create invoices like these. It has accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, and inventory, and over 60 customizable reports that put you in control.
I'm going to try it.
Nothing to lose.
Call 1-800-344-8300.
Here in Charlotte, a new 125 East champion is to be crowned as we look at tonight's top 10 finishers. Lee McCullough showing him the money. And with the winner of the race for tonight, let's go down to Marty Reed.
Yeah, we'll talk to the guy who crossed the line first, Ricky Carmichael. You and I talked right before the race, and I said if you got out front, this was going to be your night, and it was.
Yeah, I mean, I knew all along, all year, that I was one of the fastest guys, and I just didn't have my priorities straight. And I rode a good heat race, even though I got second. I rode smart, and I rode smart that time, even though I didn't get the whole shot. I didn't blitz it and crash this time. I just used my head and got by Timmy and pulled away. I mean, Stefan was catching me, but I figured he'd get tired, you know, because it seems like he fades towards the end. And I don't know. I'm glad that I won this last one. Going into Hangtown, you know, I'm winning the point series, and I'm glad I got a win behind me, and I'm ready for Hangtown, to be truthful with you.
Well, that's the outdoor, but what about next year? Are you sending, just yes or no, are you sending a notice that this is your championship to win next year?
Yeah, next year, for sure. This is my ultimate goal, for sure, because it could have been my year this year, but I didn't take advantage of it, so I'm going to take advantage of it next year.
Okay, there's your winner. We'll talk to the champion in just a second.
Here's what will be going into the record books for 1997 in the 125 Eastern Division. Tim Ferry taking the championship. Rancata in second place. Ricky Carmichael ending up with 123 points in third. Greg Schnell able to end the season very strong, moving up the ladder. Let's go back to Marty.
And this is the moment that we've been waiting for Timmy Ferry. You know, we're in NASCAR country. You know, Darrell Waltrip won a championship without ever crossing the line first. Here it is, buddy. You're number one.
Yeah, you know, it feels really good. My Suzuki ran great all year. My mechanic, Lee McCullum, did a good job. Roger Coster, you know, got the bikes a little better than they were last year and the year before. And I just rode smart the whole series, and I guess it paid off.
Talked to Lee. He said, man, you were tight as a drum in that heat race. What was it like in the main?
The heat race was horrible. I rode so bad, I rode stiff. I got like a fifth or something. And, you know, in between races, I loosened up, talked to McGrath a little bit. He helped me out, and just went out and got the whole shot and rode as smart as I could.
Congratulations, champ. How's that sound?
That sounds pretty good. I like to thank everybody at Suzuki, Thor, CD, Scott, Bell, CTI knee braces. The list goes on. Thanks everybody.
Tim Ferry, definitely number one for 1997.
Well, it was especially good, gentlemen, to see smiles on Roger DeCoster's face and Tim's dad, who was also available down there to greet the celebration as Tim Ferry wins the 125 Eastern Crown by 11 points.
Yeah, when you win a championship, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's an East-West or if it's 250 National. It is an achievement, and Tim Ferry definitely deserves it. He drove a smart race.
While the 125 championship celebration continues, coming up next, the 250s, Jeff Emig, Jeremy McGrath, and friends.
Before you run to 4 different dealerships, consider countywide Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle. Luxury, economy, sport utility, countywide really does have a vehicle for everyone. And with great financing and service, you just can't beat countywide.
With deals like a 97 Jeep Grand Cherokee leased for just $249 a month, you can't beat countywide. Satisfaction guaranteed from our family to yours. Countywide Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle, Garden Grove.
Think you know your beers? Take this quiz. Of these great beers of the world, which one is preferred by more beer lovers than the rest? This one? Nah. The beer we're talking about outsells Foster's and Molson and Corona. This? Wrong. It outsells every beer from England worldwide. Outsells every German beer worldwide, too. And around the world, it's even preferred over Heineken. The answer's Karen. But you knew that, right? Karen, the secret's been bottled up long enough.
Another outstanding Supercross crowd here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We've had record crowds almost every event this year as we're in round number 13. Hello, everybody. I'm Art Ekman, along with Davey Coombs and Rick Johnson. Guys, as we go into this title chase with Emig just a few points, a couple of points ahead of Jeremy McGrath, Jeff Emig doesn't look like the rider that got him the 11 or 19-point lead at one time.
You know, the time is now for Jeff Emig. He came out on fire like after the 3rd race of the year, but in these last 3 races, he's hit a sandbar. He's got some problems.
Yeah, and Jeremy McGrath has just been getting stronger and stronger. He knows what it's like to dominate a series, but switching bikes, it's not that the Suzuki was a worse bike, it's a different bike. The clutch reacts different, the power band's different, suspension, everything. So he's just been getting comfortable with that, and the bikes are getting better and better. You heard Tim Ferry say, hey, Roger's been making the bikes better, so that's got to be part of it. So he's one tough character to beat tonight.
And the emergence of the Yamaha team with the strength of Ezra Lusk after Doug Henry was injured. Doug Henry with a couple of wins. Lusk comes and picks up the banner. A couple of more wins. Marty Reed, some dark horses?
Hey, there's a couple out there. Of course, the hometown favorite, Damon Bradshaw. But what about Larry Ward celebrating his 27th birthday? He was 3rd last time out. And then Ryan Hughes. This track owes him. That's the way he feels about it. He thinks he has enough to go the distance.
Taking a look at the Suzuki point standings, Emig with a rather precarious 2-point lead on McGrath. Then there's also a battle between Lusk and Ward for 3rd. Last week at the Silverdome in Pontiac wasn't exactly the best of days for either Emig or McGrath.
Last week I was just tight. That's just all there was to it. From not getting to do a lot of training and stuff because of my injury the week before. You know, I just tightened up a little bit. Ain't no thing, you know. I worked real hard all week long. We tested, you know, everybody on the team, Kawasaki, you know, they were all working hard, making sure that I got plenty of riding time this week. And I think that that's what I hadn't been getting enough of, was enough time on the bike. And so consequently, when I went to Pontiac, I just didn't feel right.
Something that I've never done before in my whole life. And I was pretty disgusted about it. I was pretty mad, and there's no reason it should have happened. You know, I was 5 seconds out in front, and I didn't need to be pushing it as hard as I was. But I'm always under the influence. You know, if you push it as hard as you can, then not much is going to happen. You know, you got to race like you raced the first 10 laps, the last 10 laps. So maybe if I would have slowed down, something else would have happened. So, I mean, try not to let that happen again.
As we come back, the 30-second board is up. Davey Coombs.
I think you're going to see a lot of things happen here in the first turn. It's going to be who gets out cleanly and who's left behind. We've seen it happen all night. The card is sideways.
Could we have a different winner? We've had 6 different winners this year. Could we have a new points leader when this is over? Emig and McGrath. McGrath gets across the line, but look at number 7, Kevin Windham. Windham shoots out of there like out of a cannon.
Yeah, Jeremy McGrath took Jeff Emig way deep into the hay bales and ended up screwing both of them up. I think Jeremy got into that first turn, and he didn't want to get pushed out like he did in the heat, so he went a little too deep.
That was a disaster for Jeff Emig. He went from second on the outside to about 15th.
The fireworks, in case you want to know about the bombs going off, it's fireworks here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway on our first lap. Kevin Windham, and then
Mike Craig.
Mike Craig in second place with Ezra Lusk in third. Larry Ward in fourth. It's Albertine and then Jeremy McGrath. After McGrath, it's Bradshaw, Kadrowski. Then it's Phil Lawrence. Oh, we have to go way back until we find a Jeff Emig.
Right, you're going to really see Jeff Emig's merit here. He's going to have to fight for this one because we saw Jeremy McGrath just cut through the field in the heat race. Now he's right in the same position he was in the heat, so look for him to go forward, but you're going to have to see Jeff Emig push really hard.
Emig in 14th place. He's come back before. We'll see if he has it here tonight.
We saw him mess up a shift off the starting gate at Houston and went from dead last to first, but this is not a Houston-type track.
What about this Kevin Windham? If he wins, it could be his very first 250 Supercross victory.
Well, we watched him dominate the heat race, and I've also seen him do the same thing over in Japan. So if he gets out a big enough lead, Jeremy might not want to bother with him and go try to chase him down instead of taking that chance. So he's going to be a strong person to beat and a really hard person to beat in this race.
Yeah, if somebody's just tuning into tonight's broadcast, they think you see all the riders over there in Japan. Ricky, you spent a lot of time over there, huh?
Well, definitely. But like Davey was pointing out right here, we got Greg Albertine past Jeremy McGrath back, so we got a dice going.
That'll be a team player, though, later on. That's for sure. McGrath is now in 5th place. Out in front, zooming, is Kevin Windham.
Might see a little bit of the future of Supercross now. We saw it in the 125 class with Carmichael, and right there goes the future of the 250 class, Kevin Windham.
Yeah, Kevin's running really strong. He's hitting his lines perfect, and like I say, he's a little bit bigger, so he's got some leverage, and so with speed's not going to bother someone that can throw around a bike like that.
Jeremy McGrath gets the clean bar-to-bar action now with Albertine.
I see Emig right now. He's only picked up 2 spots on that lap. He's only up to 12. He's getting ready to make a move on one of the Chaparral guys, but he's got a long way to go before he gets in the top 3, let alone before he gets up to Jeremy McGrath.
A 5-second lead for Windham on Craig. And then right behind him, Ezra Lusk. Jeremy McGrath has now moved behind Lusk.
Well, right now what Jeremy's probably doing is settle in. He's got an eye on all the top 3 guys. Now he can take his time. He knows he has 19 laps to do it, and that's a long time. So he might be thinking, hey, Kevin Windham can get tired. A lot can happen in that time.
Number 15, Michael Craig, coming off the injured list after missing 4 races with a broken scapula. That's your angel wing, I think. But he's one of the riders, guys, I thought had a good chance for a win this season. Ezra Lusk takes Craig, number 15.
Maybe a little bit of that time off came back and haunted Craig right there. He junked the landing off that little double. That's all Ezra needed. Now we got Yamaha 1 and 2, and that's happened once earlier this year.
More than once. In fact, Yamaha is one of 3 factories to have a 1-2 finish this year. Yamaha, the only one with doing it twice. Craig off the track.
Craig just cased the jump really hard. He might have re-injured his leg or something, but he just pulled off the track like, hey, I heard something. I'm gonna hold off and park it. He's off the side of the bike.
So Windham running away in first place. Ezra Lusk in second. We had a Doug Henry win and an Ezra Lusk second place earlier in the season. We've had an Ezra Lusk Windham 1-2. And right now, watch this replay.
See,
Craig doesn't get the height, runs right into the triple. That's one of the highest speeds, and if you notice, he just basically bails out. He's getting off the track. Something went wrong.
You know, Windham was just looking at this 250 action when he started in the last race at Pontiac as a warm-up for his 125 Western finish in Dallas. He was coming off an injury, and he wanted to get back in sync as his mechanic there, Steve Butler, shows him the board.
Yeah, the way the series works for 125 riders, like Carmichael was talking about the next 125 National, that's not for 3 weeks away. Windham had 3 weeks off before he got to his next 125 West Region race, a very important race because he could wrap up his title.
Steve Butler, I should have said, giving the board to Ezra Lusk. That's the mechanic that works for Ezra, as Ezra's in second place with McGrath, Albertine, and Larry Ward in the top 5.
Well, I've been watching Jeremy McGrath, and he's missing his jumps just a little bit. He might be thinking a little bit too much about the championship, but he's off the pace from Windham. If he doesn't pick it up, he's not going to catch him.
Okay, Marty's with Ali Seymour, who's the mechanic of Kevin Windham.
Hey, I got to ask you, did you feed him Wheaties or nitromethane? What's going on?
I don't know. He's getting used to riding a 250, and he likes it a lot. So we got 15 more laps. We'll see if we can hang on.
Yeah, but he's kicking their butts right now.
He's got some really good speed out there. Down those straightaways, he's really cruising. So we'll see.
He's coming by again, guys.
It's been an interesting year as we take a look at the battle for fourth now with Larry Ward getting hounded by Albertine. Albertine moving up, is looking for his opportunity to pass Rick Johnson.
Yeah, Larry Ward just got past Albertine. If you see that those little nagging cases, it's kind of like a jab in a boxing match. It takes a little bit out of you each time because every time you go to hit those things, you got to squeeze up real tight.
Emig has moved up to 9th place.
Yeah, he actually is just getting ready to make a move on Phil Lawrence for 8th. And then after that, he's got a long way to go before he gets to Bradshaw and Ryan Hughes, and that's not even in the top 5 yet.
Emig leading by only 2 points over Jeremy McGrath inside. Ward tries to cut off. Here comes Albertine. Albertine, what a back-and-forth battle we've got going between Team Suzuki and Honda of Troy.
Yeah, both these riders putting in their best rides.
Here's another battle too. Jeremy McGrath is trying to put the challenge onto Ezra Lusk.
Well, see, here you got a situation where you got a guy going for a championship and a guy that's a long shot that just wants to be impressive every time he's on the bike. So Jeremy's got more to think about than Ezra.
Last week, Lusk never letting McGrath off the hook from 3 to 5 seconds every lap right behind him. When McGrath made a mental mistake, probably he was as disturbed at himself as he's ever been after a race.
You know, I know last year that Ezra Lusk finished 3rd in the standings. It was a big surprise, but it was nowhere near as convincing or as impressive as he's been this year, getting all these podium finishes and doing so well.
The race for the 97 AMA Supercross title continues from Charlotte, North Carolina. Stay with us.
Walk in with no down payment. Ride off with a new Honda Shadow or Magna. Walk in, get low financing. Ride off with a Honda Goldwing or Valkyrie. Walk in at the right time. Ride off with a CBR 600 F3 and a custom watch while supplies last. Until May 31st, get low financing, no down payment, and a custom watch with selected models at your Honda dealer. The Honda Ride Off. Walk in, ride off.
Now is the time to train for the career you've always wanted. Just ask Motorcycle Mechanics Institute graduate Al Ludington, now lead mechanic for Honda's championship-winning Smokin' Joe's Superbike team.
MMI gave me the knowledge and training to take me to the top of my profession. It's a great place to start, and I recommend it to anybody looking to kick off a career in motorcycle mechanics or the personal watercraft industry.
Change your life with one phone call, 1-800-994-3664. That's 1-800-994-3664. Call today.
Well, we do commercials from time to time, and frankly, we're pretty good at it.
I love the chicken, I love the donuts, I love Margie's all-you-can-eat house of chicken and donuts.
People trust us.
Have you ever been injured? Well, the law firm of Steicher and Cronin want to turn your whiplash into hard cash.
America's best-loved sports melodies.
Let's go Rangers! Push her back, way back.
No one sings like Oberman.
Jarrow.
Bottom line, we move merchandise.
And the battle is on now, but right now, Kevin Windham is out in front. Here is a replay, though, in the battle for 2nd place. It's Jeremy McGrath on the right, Ezra Lusk on the left. Wheel to wheel. Not even a scratch of plastic, though, and now Ezra Lusk is kind of playing it like he did last week. Not let Jeremy get too far away, but he's not showing him any wheels.
We saw the same thing in the heat race earlier. Ezra got behind him and checked out his lines. One thing people might not know about, and some of you people out there on the internet following these races might know this, Jeremy McGrath and Ezra Lusk are on there all the time, and they're pretty good friends. They're on opposite sides of the country, but they get together and talk about these things.
Yeah, but right now, I don't care if they're bunk bed buddies. These guys are going to take each other out to win this championship.
Windham, McGrath, Lusk, Albertine, Ward, Hughes, and Emig. Now, that shouldn't be a problem with Emig getting by Hughes.
Ryan Hughes is a tough player. He gives it 110% anytime he's on the track. Last year, he broke his jaw, came out and rode.
And
so
he's just moved by, yes. Ryan, and now he's looking forward to Larry Ward.
I think right now what Emig might want to think about doing, he's going to keep moving forward, obviously, but he might want to focus on Albertine, the 4th place rider, cut his losses there. He'll still be within a couple points. He will lose the points lead, but at least going the last 2 rounds will still be close.
Rick, Emmig's looking a lot smoother now. I guess he's just loosened up after a very, very tight beginning.
Yeah, he is looking real smooth, but that's what wins him the championships in the outdoor. In Supercross, you got to be aggressive, and you got to hit every little jump, bump, and turn with 100% aggression. And I think that's why Jeremy McGrath has done so well in Supercross.
Our leader, Kevin Windham. This could be his very first 250 win. What a great break that might be in capturing maybe a 125 Western title next week, but already having that 250 win under your belt.
Yeah, it takes a lot of pressure off. You know, he's up in the major league. He's in the show, and if he wins the bout here, it'll take him into next year with a lot of confidence.
Jeff Emig, Larry Ward, Honda of Troy, trying to hold off the points leader. Interesting battle right here. Emig goes on the inside and a very clean pass. Didn't even have to try to block him.
I think Ward knows.
Ward says, "Hey, goodbye."
Yeah, he knows who's in the championship chase right now.
And so Emig is on the climb up the ladder, guys.
Yeah, you know, I understand that there's guys out there fighting for a championship, but Larry Ward still needs to establish himself as the man. So I'm surprised he gave up that easy.
Pretty soon on the long straights, guys, Windham will be waving at Emig on the direction going the other way as we check our leader, number 7, Kevin Windham. He's got a huge lead right now.
Yeah, Kevin is just running really strong.
Honda stopwatch time. Let's get an interval right now and see if we can pick out between number 1 and number 2, Jeremy McGrath in second spot.
You know,
here's Jeremy.
When the season started, Art, could you have ever imagined there'd be 7 main event winners in the 250 series?
Nope. You want the honest question, huh? No. We've had 6 so far. That ties a 1990-1991 mark of 6 different winners in a Supercross season. We have never had 7 different riders win in a Supercross season. We've had 8. That was back in '85.
Yeah, but after last year's just complete dominance of Jeremy McGrath, I know he switched brands and everything like that, but he's still McGrath.
And never before have we had simply 6 different winners in only 3 different brands. Back in those days, in 90 and 91, all 4 brands participated in that kind of display.
Yeah, but I think one of the things that you can, one of the reasons is people saw a dent in Superman's armor over in Europe and Japan when Jeremy didn't do well in the new Hondas. And I think that gave them the confidence to say, hey, man, Superman has kryptonite. Maybe we can beat him.
8 laps remaining in our 250 main. Can Windham hold on to this lead as we check out his lap time, Rick Johnson?
Well, he's running 3 seconds a lap faster than Ricky Carmichael was, so that's give a little call to him for running that hard on a 125. But Kevin Windham is just running smooth. You look at him, to me, genetically, he's got the right buildup. He's big enough to where he can manhandle the bike, but he's not so big that he's getting in his own way, so he's a contender. Guys,
we have another fan fact on the way. We have never had 4 first-time winners in one season. If Windham wins this race, he'll go with Albee, Lusk, and Huffman as a first-time winner on a season. We mentioned it was stiff competition this year, but those numbers really prove it.
And those guys are all really young, too. I think it bodes well for the future of Supercross.
Yeah, here we're watching Jeremy McGrath, and Jeremy's just going to do what he can to pick off a little bit of time here and there on Windham. He's not going to make any big mistakes and go chase him down.
Oh, Lusk making a big move. Leaps over Jeremy McGrath. Ezra Lusk wants that number 1-2 finish for Yamaha. McGrath now has to wake up. I think he caught him by surprise.
That goes back to what Rick was saying whenever Larry Ward pulled over and let Jeff Emig by. Ezra Lusk, he does not have the same courtesy.
No, you're watching guys that want to be superstars and want to be the best, and I think Ezra Lusk knows what it feels like to win a couple of main events. Okay, down to Marty.
Yeah, when he came by, he was motioning something about being wrong with the bike. I'm standing here with Wyatt Seals. He's on the radio with Roger DeCosta. He can't talk to me right now. They're trying to figure out what's wrong also, but there is definitely something wrong with Jeremy Suzuki.
He's got a flat tire.
Looks like he might have the flat tire. Jeremy McGrath, what a break this would be. Yes, the rear tire.
Yeah, Jeremy McGrath has got a rear flat tire.
Well, it's a fairly straight track If it were the front tire, it'd be impossible.
Yeah, but with this high-speed track, as much as you're accelerating to jump triples and doubles and through the whoop-de-doos.
That's right, lots of jumps.
Yeah, you're going to throw that bike sideways. So we're going to test his merit, but that's the great thing about Supercross.
There's a lot of time left, too. That thing might come off the rim lock, and he's going to have some real problems.
7 laps remaining for number 1, Jeremy McGrath. Can he hold on? As Emig has got to be inspired once he sees the pit board and see what kind of time he's picking up on Jeremy McGrath. Just a matter of time now.
Yeah, the way things are working out for Emig, you better hope that Hughes and Ward get inspired too, because the way he's riding, he's going to need some more points to cushion him when he gets to Dallas and Las Vegas.
Well, looking at that rear tire, it was 10 years ago that I did some development work with Dunlop on the 19-inch rear wheel. If that was an 18-inch rear wheel, it's a lot more tire than that's hanging out there, and you have a lot more trouble. So, you know, I think this tire will hang in there. It's a soft enough track. There's not really anything that can hurt it, but he needs to stay straight and focused going off the jumps.
We're seeing Greg Albertine come up behind his teammate. I wonder how long Albie's going to stay behind him.
Well, he might just take it right now. He's going to the inside of the corner now. Or do, as a team player, do you come back and try to delay Emig? No. Albertine takes Jeremy McGrath. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, we're down here with Wyatt Seals. Wyatt, looks like the rear tire.
Yeah, it's definitely flat. I guess it happened back here, back on the backside, at the other end here at the left. So, I don't know, he's just got to do the best he can. Hopefully, I mean, we're coming up with 5 laps to go. And pros coming. God, I hope we stay ahead of him.
We're going to get the stopwatch out, guys. We'll keep tabs on this one.
Well, the next battle will be Emig versus McGrath, as we see Greg Albertine now moving up a spot into 3rd place.
I mean, you can't imagine the breath of fresh air that Jeff Emig has right now when he comes around and he sees on his chalkboard Jeremy flat tire. I mean, that's just like a breath of oxygen. And he's just going to, right now, he's just staying his same consistent Jeffro, and he's just going right after him.
What a gigantic momentum shift this might turn out to be. He's not past him yet, and it's not to say that something's not going to happen to Emig, but wow, this is totally unexpected.
He's 5 seconds behind and drawn up fast. Number 3, Jeff Emig. What a break for Jeffro.
Okay.
Let's check out the Honda stopwatch now and see.
Well, Emig's down to a couple seconds. It's not going to be, I'll bet he has him through this next section of whoops, because Jeremy cannot accelerate and can't make the jumps like Jeff can.
A few seconds behind them, we got Ryan Hughes and Larry Ward coming up too. Right there, we see Emig go by Jeremy. Just salvage the points lead, Art.
That's right. Emig making his move. Emig started in 14th and has now moved 10 spots up. And number 3, number 1, it's Jeff Emig.
Well, I think, you know, Jeremy is a champion. He's going to keep fighting. Now, the key is going to be Ryan Hughes and Larry Ward. If they get by him, that's going to put a little bit of a chunk in there for the last race. So, you know, last couple races. So, right now, Jeremy's got to be getting eat up right now, because I've been through that. I lost to Spring in '82, and that added to me losing the championship.
Number 9, Ryan Hughes. You see him on the track there.
Yeah, actually, on the other side of the track, I see Damon Bradshaw's riding around about the same pace as Jeremy McGrath. So we've seen 3 contenders, Bradshaw, Craig, and of course McGrath. Suffered some bad luck here in the main event at Charlotte.
Watching Jeremy McGrath's style, he has to swoop all the turns, and he has to be real smooth and accelerate. He can't make any short moves.
3.5 seconds behind Jeremy is this young man, Ryan Hughes, number 9. What a job he could do for Kawasaki and his teammate Jeff Emig by passing Jeremy McGrath, chipping away those points. And the next question is, can Greg Albertine hold off Emig?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see a problem there. You know, Albie's a tough guy.
4 laps to go. Our leader, we've almost forgotten about him, because the points race is really the important factor right now. But Kevin Windham, as here comes Ryan Hughes against Jeremy McGrath with the flat rear tire.
If you watch, Jeremy McGrath's right wheel kicks to the right side every time he goes off a jump, because the tire's just not staying on the rim.
Emig picked up 2 points when he passed McGrath. The game of +4. Hughes goes out. It's +6. At that point, Jeff Emig controls his own destiny in the title chase. McGrath can win the last 2 races. If Emig gets second, he gets the title. And that's way down the road, guys.
And Ryan Hughes just makes a pass on Jeremy. He's kind of helpless. He's not going to sit and try to block these guys or try to knock him down, because they could end up running him over and hurting him as well. So he just has to sit and take this beating right now, which has got to be tough after all he's been through this year.
Ward right behind McGrath. That would be losing more points for Jeremy McGrath's cause. Jeremy McGrath, last time I remember him getting a flat tire was in Seattle. He lost that race. Larry Ward in front of Jeremy now.
Jeremy's got 3 laps to hold off the next furthest guy back. He's got about 10 seconds on Mike Kedrowski. So we see Ward roll by on the inside there. And, man, you know, it's taken away from a great ride of Kevin Windham's. He is long gone. Ezra Lusk had put on a good ride, too. Albertine's going to get on the podium, but big story, Jeremy McGrath.
Right now, Kevin Windham is approaching out of the horseshoe, the finish line, and that would mean only 2 laps remaining in this race. Windham, Lusk, Albee, Emig, Hughes, Ward, and McGrath, the order.
Tough break for Jeremy McGrath, but you know, you don't want to take away from Kevin Windham. He's drove a picture-perfect race, and he's walked away from these guys. He's running smooth. He's got all the confidence. Imagine you're going to start seeing that Kevin Windham heel clicker here pretty shortly and start doing some showboating for the fans.
Right now, he was just trying to correct himself in midair there, I think. Davey.
You know, I got another thing that I've just been thinking about as far as these last 2 races go. Windham goes back to the 125 class. Craig, obviously hurt. Jeremy McGrath's not going to get a lot of help. There's not going to be a lot of people that get in between those guys.
Larry Ward lapping Bradshaw. Bradshaw having all kinds of mechanical problems, it looks like.
Yeah, it's a tough deal. Come back to your hometown and want to do a good job, and then have something go wrong mechanically. Really hurts your ego.
2 laps to go. Kedrowski's coming up on McGrath, and then guess who's next, Art? It's Mike LaRocco.
Oh, look out. As Jeremy McGrath's challenge on Jeff Emig seeping away with only 2 full races after this one remaining.
There's Jeremy. You watch him. He can't hit those jumps with any enthusiasm. Here comes Mike Kedrowski just being able to accelerate and drive at his own pace. And Jeremy, just like I say, just sitting there and has to take the beating.
Mike Kedrowski, coming out of a year of retirement, had a bad hand injury coming out of Gatorback and missed several Supercross races, but he really wants to get tuned up for the outdoor national season as we get set for the white flag. White flag lap underway. As high as 2nd, Jeremy McGrath is now in 7th.
Here comes Ezra Lusk. He's been pushing the whole time, and now he's within probably 10 bike lengths of Kevin Windham. You can see him just now onto the screen. Man, this Ezra is really putting on a charge this last lap.
Cutting through the lappers right now as he's going to take on Phil Lawrence to the inside. You see Kevin Windham on the final lap right now. Ezra Lusk is not that far behind. Right there on the corner. Ezra would like another victory. There's no question about that. Ezra Lusk with 2 wins in the last 3 races, making a move on his teammate. Kevin Windham stepping it up a bit as Ezra tries to get by Jimmy Button. Ezra flies over the double. Here's the horseshoe. Coming up the checkered flag. A Yamaha 1-2. That's a fact. Here's Kevin Windham. His first 250 Supercross victory. Ezra Lusk in 2nd place.
And here comes Mike LaRocco on Jeremy McGrath. We got half a lap to go. He can still make the pass on him, but now is he going to be a team player, or is he just going to go out for himself and try to take those points away?
Team Yamaha. Look at Kevin Windham shaking his head, probably exhausted after his own teammate pushed him to the limit.
Well, when you get pushed like that, you have to reset, step it up on the last lap. It makes it tough. But here we got Jeremy McGrath, the champion that he is. Just keep fighting and keeps digging, and he's holding off Mike LaRocco.
Jeremy McGrath, an unfortunate situation right now. It'll be interesting when we see the official standings.
I think that this is great. Mike LaRocco is being a team player. He's not pushing it. You know, even though there was the controversy there, that makes him a great champion.
We'll be back with the official order of things and the celebration here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway after this. AMA Supercross on ESPN2 has been brought to you by Honda. Between now and May 31st, you can get a great deal on a great bike during the Honda Ride-Off. Honda, walk in, ride off. And by Suzuki. Your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Here in Charlotte, North Carolina, Kevin Windham wins his first Supercross of 1997, in the 250s that is. He becomes the first ever active 125 rider to win a 250 main event. All kinds of firsts racked up by Kevin Windham here tonight of Team Yamaha. Marty Reed's made his way to the victory podium. Let's get some insight from the guy who did all the work on the track, huh, Marty?
Hey, you know, we have to focus on the championship, obviously, but this guy destroyed the entire field. Congratulations on 250 victory number uno.
Yeah, man, this feels great. Last weekend, me and Yog won too, and I'm glad, you know, even though I'm not in the points, I'm glad to switch it around this weekend. Everybody's riding great, man. My YZ pulled me the first turn. I don't know if I got the whole shot, but it was mighty close. So, you know, I can't be happier. You know, I've been coming off injury, and then, you know, here I am getting second, and then first. You know, I mean, what more can you ask for? Absolutely nothing.
Was there one key element to this? I mean, something about the way you set up the bike, something that you've done mentally, physically?
You know what? It's all mental. You know, we haven't really done anything to the bike. I've just had a couple weeks to get used to it. You know, even though I wasn't racing when I was hurt, I was definitely at home practicing. So I just feel unbelievable on the bike, and man, I'm so bummed that I got to get off of it this week. But man, it just makes me look so forward to next year, and I couldn't ask for anything better.
Well, you still have a 125 championship to win, and that starts again next week at Dallas, guys.
The fourth first-time winner of the 1997 season, also a new record established this year. The seventh winner this season on the Supercross Tour. As we take a look at the championship run now, how it looks as we go to Dallas, Texas Stadium. It's Emig with a 6-point lead over Jeremy McGrath. The battle for Lusk and Ward is starting to separate. Be with us now for our next ESPN2 telecast. We'll be coming to you from Texas Stadium in Dallas. Art Ekman for Davey Coombs, Rick Johnson.
McGrath on the inside.